of represents just how important that funding is from both local and state appropriations. It is truly would not be possible without it. After the presentations, we'd be more than happy to give you tours of the facility, and we do have some allotted time for that. We'd especially like to thank our CFO's office for allowing us to host this presentation, here today as we receive funding to our local heroes as we protect the firefighters and first responders across our community. With that, I'd like to have Chief Financial Officer Blaise Ingoglia up for the remarks and the presentations. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thank you for that introduction. And before we start, I think you guys know just how much the first responders mean to me. I've always stood by your side in a lot of legislative fights. And I will tell you, as the CFO and the state fire marshal, it is an honor now to work alongside you guys. So guys, thank you for everything that you do. The first responders are the backbones of our communities. Some stats here. A fire department responds every 9 seconds. An EMS rescue call occurs every 13 seconds. A fire occurs every 11 minutes, and a vehicle fire occurs every 61 minutes. Now, I know firsthand that Florida is fortunate to have some of the best, if not the best, firefighters in the nation. They respond quickly and effectively to every and all emergency situations. You know, it's often been said that when people run out of burning buildings, you guys are running into burning buildings. I know it's a cliche, and a lot of people use that term when they get up and make speeches, but it is absolutely 100% true. You guys are the heroes that keep us safe. You guys do things and put yourselves in harm's way day in and day out, and the community should be thanking you guys for that. I know I am thanking you for that. But that is why we must ensure that our fire stations and our firefighters have the equipment and the resources that they need to keep families in our community safe and also to keep themselves safe. Now, unfortunately, firefighters have a higher risk of being diagnosed with cancer. And that is why I, as a state senator and state representative, sponsored legislation to provide monetary support for firefighters diagnosed with those certain cancers. I have a long legislative history of standing with you guys when other people tried not to stand with you guys. It is beholden on the communities who ask you guys to put your lives on the line every day to make sure that we are keeping our end of the promise as governments to stand by you when you have these issues, such as these particular cancers. Now, I know you guys know this, but some people may not know this, is that fighting fires today is much different than fighting fires 30, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, when you went into a structure, most of the time it was either concrete or wood. But today, those fires that you're fighting have petrochemicals, plastics, and a lot of that hazardous material is ingested either orally, you're breathing it in, or absorbed through the skin. And that's why we want to make sure that if you are diagnosed with any of those cancers, that we're taking care of you, because that is a direct relation to the job, the dangerous job that you're doing. And that's why it is important that we at the state, as long as the locals, make sure that you have the resources that you need in order to keep yourselves free and out of harm's way when it comes to these dangers. But the support for firefighters just cannot end there, and it should not end there. Over the last few months, we have traveled the state talking about how communities should be budgeting their money. Famously, I'm arguing with a lot of local governments on property tax reform, but one thing has always remained steadfast that I have said, is that the first rule of government is to protect its citizens. And how better than a local community and local governments can protect their citizens to make sure that we are funding fire and police first. They're the first things that they should be funding with their budgets, not the last. And I will tell you that I get very, very frustrated when I hear some of these local governments start saying that if we have to cut the bloat and the excess out of our budget, we are going to have to lay off fire or police. That's not accurate, shouldn't be accurate, and quite frankly, they shouldn't be using you guys as a political tool in some of these fights against the taxpayers. The fact of the matter is that there is more than enough room in these budgets to give you guys the resources that you need to hire more fire, hire more police as populations grow, and to offer substantial property tax relief. So I am going to be there by your side, fighting for you and the law enforcement community to make sure that they are prioritizing first responder funding as we start going through these exercises in order to bring down some of these local budgets and the corresponding property taxes. So today, with all that being said, as a promise to continue helping funding law enforcement and fire, I'm here because I'm the state fire marshal, and we want to make sure that fire has the resources you guys need in order to continue doing the hard work that you're doing in our communities. Today, we are proud to award over $6 million to support firefighters and fire stations across North Florida. The funds I am awarding here today are available through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program, the Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program that were both approved in the 2025-2026 budget. The Firefighter Assistance Grant Program was established to help volunteer and combination fire departments improve their emergency response capabilities. The Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program provides funding to fire departments for the purchase of life-saving equipment to mitigate the exposure of cancer-causing chemicals. We can't stop it, at least not now, although we are going to try, but we can do everything that we can to mitigate that and give you guys the tools that you need in order to have equipment that is free of this and make sure that you yourselves are free of these cancer-causing materials. So with that, let's get some checks awarded to you guys. So please come to the front for a photo when I announce your award. St. Augustine is receiving $2.5 million to purchase land and construct a fire station on Anastasia Boulevard. You can mention Avila, right? Good. Now you have to put that in the drive-through at the bank. I was just going to roll it. All right. Clay County is receiving $2 million to support the Clay County Public Safety Complex. Clay County. They said, Chief, I was looking. Baker County is receiving $900,000 for a pumper tanker fire apparatus and also receiving a grant through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program. $900,000 for the pumper tank and $54,600 for the Firefighter Assistance Grants Program. Columbia County is receiving an award through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program for $40,800. are they feeding this guy? Oh my goodness. This check looks really small. Dixie County Fire Rescue is receiving an award through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program for $424,400. Dixie. The town of La Crosse is receiving an award through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program for $62,100. Here we go. Live Oak Fire Department is receiving an award through the Firefighter Assistance Grant Program for $57,700. Chiefland Fire Rescue is receiving an award through the Firefighter Assistance Grant for $51,700 and also receiving a grant through the Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program for $12,000. Alachua County Fire Rescue is receiving a grant through the Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program for $26,600. The City of Palm Coast is receiving a grant through the Firefighter Cancer Decontamination Grant Program for $26,000. I've known this guy for 20 years at least. Which way we go? Oh, where we go? So that is it for the checks right here. So before we go up here and take one big check with everyone, those checks total about $6 million, but that was not the end of the checks that we wrote for North Florida. So there are more. They were not able to be here today to pick up the checks, but we make sure that we get them money, and we thank them again for their service. Madison County Board of County Commissioners check was cut for $75,000 for their volunteer fire department. The City of Fanning Springs, $111,300 for their firefighter assistance program. The City of Fernandina Beach, $31,341 for their firefighter cancer decontamination program. Crescent City, $2 million for their new fire station and EMS project. That brings the total of the checks that we dispersed here today to $8.2 million. So guys, thank you for everything that you guys give all of our firefighters a big round of applause. So before we introduce the speakers, let's get a group photo. Let's all hop up here. Guys, another big round of applause for our hometown heroes. So at this point, I'd like to call up the Florida Fire Chiefs Association Treasurer and St. Augustine Fire Chief, Carlos Aviles.
I appreciate it, sir. Carlos Aviles, I'm Fire Chief for the City of St. Augustine and board member for the Florida Fire Chiefs Association. So on behalf of our entire board of directors, our executive director, and our 3,500 members statewide, I just wanted to take a brief moment to acknowledge your steadfast leadership, not just in the CFO's office, but with Director Rice at the Division of the State Fire Marshal, and all of the support from our legislators across the state in helping advance firefighter health and safety. You know, the grants that you're seeing awarded here today do two things. One, they secure the health and safety of our first responders today, but they're also playing a very critical role in securing the infrastructure for the future of Florida's fire service. We're the third largest fire service in the nation. We are far and away the most elite group of firefighters in the nation. I would stack Florida's firefighters against anybody anywhere in the world. And you know, as a fire chief that's entrusted with the health and safety of its memberships, these grants go a very, very long way. It has been a very difficult, I'd say, past 4 or 5 years as we have faced record staffing shortages across the state, cancer epidemics that continue, the mental health crisis that continues, and then massive inflationary pressures for all of our gear and equipment that we need to continue to offer the same level of service. And so all of those things coupled together, these grant programs and the leadership that we have been able to get and the support that we get from our legislators and from Tallahassee really fill a very critical gap for communities. And you know, those issues are often exacerbated because we're all grappling with record migration into the state during that same time frame. So it's been a bit of a perfect storm, but I cannot thank your office, yourself, your staff, and all of the support that we get from our legislators everywhere. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. And now I get to call on my good friend, District Vice President for Florida Professional Firefighters, Randy Wise.
Chief. Appreciate you, brother. Good afternoon, Chief. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm here representing the Florida Professional Firefighters, our 35,000 members across the state of Florida. You know, being a firefighter has its risk, right? There's nobody in this room that doesn't understand that. But we didn't realize years ago the risks, some of the risks that we were taking that were unknown to everybody, and that's the cancer. You saw today the chief was able to hand out a lot of money, and I think what that does is recognize his priorities to our firefighters across the state of Florida of how much he cares. Now, I had the great opportunity as cancer legislation was pushing through. It started when the chief was in the House, ended up when he was in the Senate. We were able to have success at it. I had the great honor to sit in his office and talk to him about the issues that we have, and there was never a no that came out of his mouth. It was always absolutely yes, this is important to me, and we need to get it done. And again, amongst lots of other friends that were out there, he was a large part of us to be able to have this occupational disease that we are all subject to recognized as something that we have to deal with. And obviously this support is very important. We know this is a priority of his. We know it will continue. There are obviously money to help with decon, second sets of gear. You see some of the exhaust systems that are in here. They're extremely important. But also as it relates to, look, what we're trying to do is slow it down, right? All these things are able to hopefully curtail some of those issues or some of the cancers that we are getting. We're never going to get rid of all of it. And what is important is when you do get it, that the support is there. I will tell you in a private meeting that the chief said he'd be standing next to me in cities that don't stand up to what he talked about earlier, is make public safety first. And I think he's proven that. He's promised me he'll be standing there in any of the cities in the state of Florida, again, to help battle some of the politics that play into it when you're talking about supporting public safety. So, Chief, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your support that you've always given us. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You know, Randy is 100% right. We were in a closed-door meeting, and some of the conversations were talking about how do we make sure that as we're going through the exercise of property tax reform, that we hold our first responders and our hometown heroes harmless. I will tell you that it is priority number one for me and the governor, making sure that we take care of you guys. So if any elected official starts using you guys as a political football, they'll be hearing from me directly, because I just won't stand for it. Because look, I know these budgets inside and out. I know the tricks that local governments use and play when it comes to this stuff. I just won't stand for it. But in addition to that, one thing I do want to bring up that I want you guys to know that it is on my radar and continues to be my radar, and that is the silent killer. I know that you guys go through a lot, and mental health issues with firefighters should not be shunned. It shouldn't be pushed under the rug. It should be talking about in the open. And I know that's one of the issues that you guys have been pushing forward. One of the issues that we had last legislative session, where there were some powers in Tallahassee who did not want to use the word suicide when it comes to mental health issue with our first responders, whether it be fire or police. In this instance, particularly fire. And I was adamant on making sure that we kept that word in there, because it is a very real issue. Our first responders see things and hear things that they can't undo. And to me, if you guys are going out and we're asking you guys to put yourselves in harm's way, it's not just your harm, it's the harm of the people that you are going to rescue. And some of that you just can't undo. I get that. And we should be there to work alongside you side by side, acknowledge the issue, and do everything that we can possible to make sure that we mitigate that or possibly eliminate that. So you have not only a fan in the State Fire Marshal's office, you have an advocate on those silent killers. So with that, I want to thank you again for everything that you do. Know that we are here to help. We're going to give you the resources that you need. And if there's any questions from the press, more than happy to answer those questions. We didn't talk about cancer numbers. We were talking about EMS calls and stuff like that. Our office can get you specific numbers of that. I'm sure Florida Professional Firefighters has some of that data also. Between us or FPF or the fire chiefs, I'm sure we have all that information that we can get to you guys. Any other questions? Awesome. It's lunchtime. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. My door is always open to you guys anytime, day or night. Just reach out to me. I'm here to help. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Appreciate you. We get in front of the fire truck.
That picture we took last week had a flagpole sticking out his head. Get over here in front of the
Let's do this. Good.
flag. Who is going to take that? He's doing good, Chief.
If we could actually move it a bit more here, because I don't want this background. Yeah, let's go. coming? Sound is coming? Okay. All right. And you're good too? You want me in the middle? Yeah. Okay. All right, perfect. All right.
I'm going to need one of you to make sure nobody walks off with my check.
Where's your check?
I don't know, I put it up front. I didn't want to hold it.
I don't think anyone's gonna steal it from me. I'm pretty sure somebody here will identify. There's a lot of cops around here. But we'll make sure.
I got mine. Okay.
You ready? Yeah. All right. We'll do a quick mic check. I'll just have to spell your first and last name.
Okay, first name's Carlos, C-A-R-L-O-S. Last name is Aviles, A-V-I-L-E-S.
Beautiful. And if you could just kind of break down a little bit about what the check that you got today is gonna go to.
So our check today was a reimbursement for a land acquisition for a fire station on Anastasia Boulevard. So this has been an ongoing 5 or 6 year project for us, and we're very excited for it. We are moving forward. We're under contract now, and it's a great program. It's an awesome opportunity for the city of St. Augustine. So we're relocating our Barrier Island fire station. And what it's really doing is it's a part of a much bigger public safety project. So moving the fire station is going to enhance our capabilities in that area. We get more room with a better designed fire station that we can gear towards firefighter health and safety while enhancing response times and the safety of the crews that are there. But it also green lights a public safety infrastructure project where we can do roadway improvements to the Anastasia Boulevard and Red Cox Drive intersection, which has been a problem for decades in our area. And so the facilitation of that fire station getting moved really makes that possible. And so the state legislators stepping in and helping the city fund that project has been very instrumental and helpful to us.
And where do things stand right now as far as construction?
So right now we're still in design. And so we're hoping to break ground in January or February of 2027.
And I also just want to clarify the renderings. Do you guys have any idea of what the new fire station is going to look like?
So we're still going through design. We have some conceptual renderings right now, but we actually have a meeting tomorrow with our construction management team and our design firm to really iron those out and start getting more accurate cost projections for the project.
Good. Do you have any questions? Anything else you think is worth mentioning? No? All right. Great job. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry?
Thank you for letting me